Hi everyone, my name is Lyric Rogers. I am a third year theater arts major and Spanish minor at Piedmont University, and this is like the fourth time I've tried recording this. I'm doing this PowerPoint for psychology class, and I've been given the topic of stress and disease. So here you go. Stress is a psychological and physical response to an equilibrium altering stimulus, and stressors are stimuli that throw the body's equilibrium out of balance. And the bodily response to the stressor is the fight or flight response, which is the alarm phase in general adaptation syndrome. And you might have heard of fight or flight response actually earlier in psychology class if you were in class with me. And stressors can be short-term, acute, or long-term, chronic. So we're going to talk about general adaptation syndrome real quick. Alarm, resistance, and exhaustion are the three phases in it. And the Austrian-born researcher Hans Selye, I hope I pronounced his name correctly, who was born in 1907, died in 1982, he researched how stress develops, and that's what he called the overall stress response. The alarm phase, aka fight or flight. In order for an alarm phase to happen, a stressor must be perceived first. The perceived stressor is usually a threat, whether physical, psychological, or social, and the body is mobilized to flee from the stressor when the alarm phase happens. Bodily mobilization during the alarm phase. Okay, let's talk about this. After a threat is perceived, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, we're just going to call this the HPA axis, but anyway, it's a group of brain areas. And the HPA axis starts to release a group of hormones called glucocorticoids. Cortisol is considered the most important glucocorticoid because it increases energy production from glucose and also has an anti-inflammatory effect. However, cortisol can also affect neurotransmitter functioning. The sympathetic nervous system also activates and it releases adrenaline and noradrenaline. The second phase of general adaptation syndrome is the resistance phase, and various bodily functions are disrupted. No new energy is stored during the response. Chronic stress produces fatigue, and cortisol is produced within the phase. The third phase is the exhaustion phase, in which continued stress damages the body, and it is the final stage of general adaptation syndrome. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the immune system. It defends the body against infection and disease. B cells, the B stands for bone marrow, and T cells, the T stands for thymus, are critical to the immune system. NK cell, NK stands for natural killer. It's a type of T cell that destroys damaged and altered cells, for example, cancer cells. And stress affects the heart a lot. Chronic stress increases blood pressure, which promotes atherosclerosis, in which plaque builds up on the arteries. So, as you are watching this video, take the time to think about, so why are people the way they are? My answer is that I think people the way they are with stress and disease because if people are under too much stress, what will they do with their lives? And why do people do the things they do? Stress-wise, I feel like people do the things they do in order not to get sick. I've tried to avoid stressing out a lot myself, but I've developed chronic illnesses along the way. I know I've developed two, which are hidradenitis suppurativa and polycystic ovary syndrome. If you want to know more, just comment and I'll tell you about it. Or maybe send me a DM or something. Whatever. Anyway, what can psychological science tell me about the world around me? I think psychological science helps me learn a lot more about the world around me and it helps expand my worldview. How can I use this knowledge to make the world a better place? I can use this knowledge to raise awareness on about how too much stress can cause disease. And I feel like you have very similar answers. And yeah, and the sources I use are my textbook, as you can see here. Anyway, I hope you ignored the borders. I've tried to do like recording with Office 365 and it didn't work. Forget that. I mean, I hope you enjoy this presentation.